After Donald Trump challenged President Barack Obama to show his records to prove that he hadn't been a terrible student.
If Barack Obama opens up and gives his college records and applications, and if he gives his passport applications and records, I will give to a charity of his choice.
The world was blindsided. That was the most striking element of the entire ordeal. For a decade, the derision had been constant, visible, and unforgiving. There were biting remarks at political events and effortless brush-offs during news broadcasts. Critics persistently insinuated that Barack Obama, a Harvard Law alum, former Law Review president, and constitutional scholar, had somehow stumbled into his accolades without merit. The narrative painted his achievements as hollow and his background as questionable. To his loudest detractors, he was a mirage. Yet Obama maintained a disciplined silence. He never responded the way his critics expected. He continued delivering speeches.
Born in a small town, served his country, taught kids, coached football, took care of his neighbors. He knows who he is.
And publishing reflections with steady composure. That calm only fueled more attacks, because to some, silence looks like weakness. They misread it completely. The steady erosion of his reputation became routine. His accomplishments were constantly reframed through suspicion, as if unseen forces were responsible for his success. Every speech was judged for tone rather than substance. Every achievement was questioned, stripped of credibility, and reduced to narratives of privilege or luck. It wasn't just political. It was deeply personal, aimed at undermining his identity as a serious legal mind. Then, on an ordinary Wednesday, without warning or build-up, a single hyperlink appeared on Barack Obama's personal website. No title, no explanation, just a link. What followed brought everything to a halt. It was a legal transcript, a certified federal appellate record from 1994. It captured a young Obama arguing a complex case before a panel of judges with remarkable precision and clarity. His reasoning was sharp, his delivery controlled, and his command of constitutional law undeniable.
But no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing?
A Reagan-appointed judge paused the proceedings, not to challenge him, but to openly praise the quality of his argument on the official record. This wasn't a polished story or campaign highlight. It was raw, technical proof. In the rigid language of the courtroom, his brilliance was unmistakable. He wasn't just participating, he was leading the room. The judge's acknowledgement was rare, especially in a setting defined by scrutiny and opposition. Decades later, that same silence returned as people read the document. The weight of it was immediate. Then came the second revelation. Attached to the transcript was a handwritten note from a senior partner at Obama's early law firm. Dated just days after that 1994 hearing and addressed to the Harvard Law Board, it described his ability as singular in a generation.
Chicago in 1984.
Well, I just gotten out of college. I was at Columbia University in New York, and Harold Washington had just been elected in 1983, and I was very much interested.
It resonated with those who had seen excellence questioned and achievement minimized. In those pages, they saw validation. Within an hour, the document became a global trend. Legal experts went on air, explaining how rare such praise was in federal court. Commentators who had long dismissed Obama were suddenly confronted with undeniable evidence of his competence. By the end of the day, even a simple reading of the judge's words had reached millions. For a moment, the usual noise faded. The divisions paused. There was a shared recognition of something real, and still, Obama said nothing. No interviews, no statements, no reaction. He didn't need to. The document spoke with a clarity no argument could match. It wasn't a defense. It was proof. He had allowed time to do what rebuttals never could. When the truth is solid, it doesn't need volume.
You never heard me threaten to shut them down or call them enemies of the people. As a fellow citizen, not as an ex-president, but as a fellow citizen, I'm here to deliver a simple message.
There is a certain silence that follows realization. Not confusion, not chaos, but understanding. That was the mood across the country. A quiet recognition that the narrative had been wrong. Obama had absorbed years of attacks with patience that was mistaken for weakness. In reality, it was discipline. He wasn't reacting. He was waiting, holding on to proof not for immediate defense, but for a moment when it would matter most. He understood something simple. Truth doesn't expire. One link, shared without explanation, was enough to change everything. The noise faded, the doubt dissolved, and the record, untouched, undeniable, finally spoke for itself. The applause was deafening, and for once, the jeering had stopped entirely.